r/AskReddit. What is a completely random fact? When a Viking received a gut wound, they would be fed strong onion soup. After some time, someone would smell the wounds elsewhere on their body. If they smelled like onions, there was damage to the intestines, and no chance of saving them. That is pretty ingenious, to be honest. It's safe and effective. Also, their understanding of human anatomy was pretty decent too. I would not be in the mood for soup after being stabbed in the stomach. Perhaps not a direct stab, but maybe a slash that you got during battle. Squid brains are donut shaped, and their esophagus runs through it. If a squid eats something too big, it can get brain damage. I would be a real dumb squid. That's why Squidward's always so pissed. He has to cut all his food into tiny pieces, which takes ages. Similarly, the vagus nerve runs pretty close to your upper digestive tract, and eating large food items without properly chewing them, or if they are dry and go down in large clumps, can cause heart palpitations which, if you haven't experienced them, feel kind of like you're dying. That's because the vagus nerve innervates the heart and can be irritated by that process. It also includes postural problems and bloating, among some other things. Penguins have an organ above their eye that converts salt water into fresh water. Ladies and gentlemen, we have solved the freshwater crisis. Found out how to make water not vegan. Ants have a terminal velocity of 1.778 meters per second. This means they can fall from any height and not harm themselves. No fall damage, that's so unfair. Humans have x100 fall damage of ants, but also x100 strength and speed. We also have a magnifying glass cheat code. Imagine being an ant using wide-angle cameras. You'd still get nothing in your frame. When roosters make their sound, their ears close up so that they won't become deaf. They don't have to listen to their own bullshit. Those sadistic jerks. Sounds like the same genetic mutation all politicians have. At one point in time, all the details of the Manhattan Project were in 3 safes, each locked with the code 27, 18, 28. Mathematicians would of course recognize these numbers as the Euler number, 2.71828, a number that has wide importance in calculus. Physicist Richard Feynman was able to crack into these safes after snooping around the secretary's desk and finding the number pi, 3.14159. After thinking, why would a secretary need to know the value of pi, he deduced it was probably a code, so he tried it on the safes. After they didn't work, he tried other numbers that mathematicians and physicists would use, and sure enough, worked. After he got into the safes, he thought to pull a prank on the director by leaving little notes in the safe to scare the director into thinking that a spy had gotten in. Just adding some more fun facts about this. He needed to get in because he had a report due and the library was closed. That office was the only other place the files he needed were stored. He had a hobby of cracking safes around Los Alamos. One corporal or something had a $25,000 safe installed in his office that the installers had a hell of a time getting up the stairs, and that asshole never bothered to change the original code it came with. The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland. I'm Scottish, can confirm. I'm a unicorn, I can confirm as well. Crows hold grudges. Once they identified the suspect in question, they would threaten them by diving down and swarming the person that they had felt threatened by years before. I've heard really cool things about crows. One crow that was harassed by a specific person will convince lots of crows to attack that same person if they are seen later. Conversely, if a crow likes a person, they will bring them shiny things and trinkets, and even convince other crows to do the same. I once heard/read, can't recall, a story about a man who fed crows bread. They would bring him coins, rings, watches, all sorts of things. He stopped when they started bringing him human teeth. Between 10 to 20% of US power outages are caused by squirrels. The Ice Age was also started by a squirrel. Goddamn scrat. It's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely. How about if you have to and one dies? Are you required to get another one? Yes. The only time you can legally relinquish ownership of your guinea pigs is when they both die simultaneously. If you don't, the Swiss police will come in with a bag full of guinea pigs, provide you with one to accompany the other, and shank you for abuse. Each pineapple takes between 1.5 to 3 years to grow. They really grow out of each other too. I thought that was just a wallpaper pattern until I went to Hawaii and visited a plantation. You can grow a new one out of the top of one you're eating if you keep enough of it intact. Also, it's one of only 2 members of the bromeliad family that are edible. The other is not commercially viable for crops. Can confirm all of this. My dad is growing his own pineapple from one he ate about a year ago. It's really cool. The tallest building in the state of Wyoming is a college dorm. Why build up when you can just build out? God, I miss living in Wyoming. There was practically no one around. It was great. More fun facts. There are 2 sets of escalators in Wyoming. More cows than people. And the population density is 6 people per square mile. They actually found out the financial center is 2 feet higher. The world's largest purchaser of explosives is the US government. The world's second largest purchaser of explosives is Disney. So that's how Disney controls all the other companies. Let us buy you, or you'll get to see the next fireworks display up close, haha. The ancestors of modern horses evolved in the Americas, then migrated to Asia, and died out in the Americas due to an unsuitable climate. Thousands of years later, escaped Spanish colonial horses would repopulate their American plains with modern horses, who could now enjoy the perfect environment that their ancestors first evolved in all those years ago. Incubators for premature babies were a sideshow attraction for many decades. They were called infantoriums. The word alone is, so 19th century one became a barber/surgeon. If you open your eyes in a pitch black room, the color you'll see is called Eigengrau. Edit. Eigengrau is a German term, which literally means own gray or intrinsic gray. Mom, can you see anything with your eyes shut, dear? Kid, no, but I can growl. The world's longest hiccup was about 8 years. Just think how hard it would be to get in a relationship. I'm sitting here imagining some guy making a hiccup sound, but the sound never stops, and he's just spending 8 years screeching at everyone. The original Mr. Potato Head toy did not come with what we now consider the body. It was a set of parts with pins that children could stab into real potatoes. That sounds ducking terrifying. If you are 25 years old, approx 1/3 of the world's population who were alive when you were born have since died. If you are older than 30, you are older than half the people currently living. Thanks, I wasn't feeling old before, but I'm now. A British man changed his name to Tim Price, so it would be difficult for telemarketers to pronounce it. But why? Because telemarketers suck and he's a troll. The last living member of a species is called an endling. Twink is a 68% air, therefore making it totally possible to fit 2 Twinkies into the space taken up by only one. I don't know if my Twinkie math is right, but that would mean it's only 32% Twinkie, and you could fit 3 Twinkies inside of a space meant for one, right? Yeah, true, lol. Barack Obama was the first president to own a BlackBerry. And the first American president to be a BlackBerry. When a pregnant woman gets injured, the fetus will send stem cells to the site of the injury to help repair it. My first pregnancy I had cancer and refused treatment. They called it a miracle because I had none after I delivered. My second child helped cure a tumor I had. I'm now 8 years later and still have not had any issues. My OB couldn't explain either, and I'm good with the outcome. Cats spend 3/4 of the day asleep, and the rest of it making sure I can't sleep. Cannibalism isn't illegal. What is illegal is how someone obtains the body. People can put in their will that they would like to be eaten alive or consumed after death, with the legal name of the person eating them, and by law the government cannot stop you. A landlocked country is one that is entirely surrounded by land, or only has borders with closed seas, and therefore no access to international waters. A doubly landlocked country is one that is surrounded on all sides by landlocked countries, meaning it's essentially 2 steps away from international waters. There are 2 such countries currently in the world, Liechtenstein and Uzbekistan. Carrots being good for your eyes was a disinformation campaign used to obscure the invention of radar. To this very day, moms are still feeding their kids British war propaganda. If you are in bed and can't fall asleep, blink constantly for a minute and you'll get tired, yawn, and soon fall asleep. Pirates didn't wear eye patches because they lost an eye. They wore them so that one eye would be adjusted to the dark. Therefore, when they go below deck, they can remove the eye patch and see better. Do they switch the patch to the other eye when it's dark? I think so, yeah. Especially important where the gunpowder is stored. Don't want to take a lit lamp in there.